Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Love Witch. As you know, I usually wear my pink hair. Today, I don't have it on. I will be attending a dear friend's graduation party later today, so I didn't want my hair to get all wacky from wearing the wig. So as you can see, it's in the background. So I'm still honoring and sending out the pink energy to help you guys all attract your soulmate and increase your self-love, which is what The Love Witch is all about. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I see that Monkey's here. Hi there, welcome. I'm glad you joined us. Today we're going to be talking about protection. And this will be spiritual energy of protection. We've got some really great ideas for you that you can use and implement around your own house for spiritual protection. And when we talk about spiritual protection, we always like to specify that it's not a fear-based energy. It's not a hunkering down and protecting yourself in a small shell. It's rather this knowingness that you're exuding light, that you're expanding out, that you're protected, that you're safe. So we like to talk about doing some different techniques, some rituals around your home that can increase your sense of safety, protection, so that you can have that ease and that expansion feeling. I will be reading the Spiritual Anatomy Divination card deck for the book, for the card of protection. And I'll be joined by my daughter, Lonnie, who's going to be sharing a lot of tips and ideas about some protection ideas too. So we're really excited about that. Hi, Tracy, welcome. All right, Tracy, I was just saying no pink hair today. It's on the back. Yeah, I've got to go somewhere after this, and I didn't want the really funny hair. So, you guys are still on my mind, and I'm still sending that beautiful pink energy out to everybody. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get started. I'll read you the card first, and then we'll talk about some other ideas for you in terms of protection. All right. Lana, can you put the card up? Yeah. Okay. So the card of protection arrives because there is an issue regarding protection in your life. Perhaps you've been feeling the need to protect a loved one, or it could be you who is in need of protection. The energy of protection is safe and peaceful. You may be drawing this energy to yourself because you've been feeling the need for increased protection. This card comes to you as a reminder to ground yourself, cleanse your energy field, and protect yourself energetically. At times, people around you might direct negative thoughts toward you without knowing the harm it can cause. Being open and sensitive to others is a wonderful quality, but you must also know how to maintain your own energy without it being depleted by others. Entities can drain the energy from the living, making people feel sick and depressed. Even a place can resonate lower than you, making you feel drained when you spend time there. This card urges you to make a habit out of protecting yourself from energetic vampires and emotions and thoughts from others. You will find that you'll be able to maintain your own energy in new ways. You may call upon the angels or spirit guides to protect you, or you may fill up with light from the Creator and shine it out to the world. Be aware of the energy drains that you have felt lately and take action at once. Know that you can protect yourself by making yourself spiritually stronger. The more you strengthen the light within you, the less vulnerable you are. You are divinely protected. If someone has sent you a psychic attack, release it at once and send it to Creator to be healed while sending forgiveness to the person who sent it. Allow yourself to heal from any time in your life that you needed protection and did not feel you received it. It is time for you to forgive. I think that's really important. You know, in my healing business with clients, I run across this all the time with people that have experienced different forms of abuse in their childhood and really did not feel protected by the other grownups in their life. And so that's kind of an energy that they live with and that they go into the world with, into adulthood with. And oftentimes that patterning creates a lot of other types of energetic vampires, psychic attacks, and people that are still mistreating people. So when that has occurred, that's why the forgiveness is so important. It like brings it full circle. It strengthens that gap instead of having an open wound and recreating that pattern where people come in and physically harm you, emotionally harm you, spiritually harm you. So when you're doing that forgiveness, it's like completing that original wound. And then your energy is strong. And that strength, that spiritual strength, actually is the best form of protection. So we often talk about forgiveness is protection. So it's really important to do that. If you are carrying some wounds from your childhood, you're noticing that there's a pattern in your life where you don't feel safe in the world or where you have been harmed, it's really important to come to your own sense of being able to forgive either the situation. You don't have to necessarily even forgive the individual who harmed you, but the situation. There's another way that you can still complete that cycle within you and become spiritually stronger and protected. Sometimes I know it's really hard if somebody has really hurt you, like whether it was a parent or someone else in your family or even a stranger. But if you do have those kind of scars and wounds around abuse issues, the best way to forgiveness might be a stretch. You may or may not be able to forgive, right? But what you can do is get the lesson. And it's never based on like punishment or that you deserved it or that you asked for it in any way. But the lesson is something that will provide the closure for you. Okay. So if you can get your lesson and turn it into something positive, like even, in my childhood, when I experienced really, really harmful situations, I learned that the benefit was I became extremely resourceful, self-reliant. I became stronger, more independent. I was able to break away from family group consciousness and become more free thinking for myself. So those were takeaways. Those were benefits from something that would have been a very negative or harmful situation. So you're not focusing on the pain or the abuse or the trauma. You're doing the takeaway. Okay. That's another way that you can bring in that full circle closure for yourself so that you can shift that energy and be spiritually protected and feel safer in your world. So, hi, Eliza. Welcome. Hi, Tracy. We got two Tracys in the chat room. So, another thing that we were talking about was the energy of a certain place and location. I'd be actually interested to see if you guys are sensitive in that way where when every time you go to one place, you feel really uplifted and happy. It might be your favorite place, right? And then there's other places where you can spend time and you're always tired. Like, I don't know if you remember this, Lonnie. Remember that sofa we had about 7 years ago? Every single person that sat on that sofa would fall asleep. They would always get tired and always fall asleep. And finally, I had to get rid of that sofa. We did do some clearing around it. We charged it. We did all kinds of stuff to it. And then finally, it was just like, I probably just because it was a pattern for so long, but everyone that sat in this particular sofa would just zonk out. So I didn't find that was very enlivening energy to have in my living room. I like people to have conversation and be more engaged.
It's a living room, not a sleeping room.
Yes, exactly. It's a living room. I love that. But there are actual locations and, like the vortexes, very positive energy, right? You go into a vortex and it affects your own energy system. It helps cleanse you of all the debris and all the attachments, unhealed energies, lower vibrating thoughts and feelings. And that energy in the vortex actually helps your own energy by shaking it up, loosening it, letting it out easier, and also filling you up with more of that vitality. So I love going to vortex areas. I spend a lot of time in them and researching them and doing my spiritual healing work there. So that would be a really easy one to know about that's a positive. Now, it could be just going to someone's house. Maybe some of you guys have friends' houses that you like to go to where people just naturally gather because the energy is very positive. It's uplifting. So pay attention to that. And don't talk yourself into something if you have that feeling like, oh, every time I think about going to this place, my energy lowers, right? Then you know that that's not a place that you should be going to spend time. So start to honor that. And then also do some things to protect your energy so that if it's somewhere like a workplace and you do have to go there until you find another job, that you want to make sure that your energy is not being drained by that environment. So we're going to be talking about some useful tools that you can do on your own to help strengthen that and to fill you up. So do you want to tell them about the moon water?
Yeah.
Okay, Lonnie's going to come on and she's going to talk to you guys about moon water. She's been using moon water a lot lately, and she's got some really great ideas for you.
All right, guys, what's up? Hello. Good afternoon, morning? After morning. Okay, so we're talking about moon water, and there's a lot of different things that you could do to like protect your space. I think one of the key parts of this card, one of my favorite parts of this card, is that protection, it doesn't, like, and you mentioned in the beginning too, it's not always like, oh, it's like fearful and like I have to protect myself and lock down and be afraid and be scared. And it's like, okay, but there's this bigger part of it too, where protection is sort of like this energy that you hold around you too, and it should be like you shining your light out instead of like withdrawing and hiding it within. You want to be like, no, like this is my space, this is my home. If you got like spirits in your home, for example, that'd be like a great place to start with protection energy, because you know you don't want spirits invading your space. But then the same goes for like boundary setting too. And people, if you find that people consistently cross boundaries with you, or constantly kind of infringing like their energy into your space, you're going to want to like reassess, like, okay, how is my personal boundary setting in relationships, in addition to the spiritual side of it and the spiritual component that comes in that talks about like you know, how am I maintaining my spiritual boundaries? So we have a few like tools that kind of, that's my segue. We have some tools that you can use that will help you maintain that like protection vibe in your space on the spiritual side of things.
Yeah. And you know what? I love that too, because it's like, if you think about it, in all the times in your life when you did not feel protected, you know what that felt like. And it was scary, right? And you felt fearful, or maybe that's when you were harmed. But there's a whole nother energy when you are protected, that you just feel confident, comfortable, at ease, because you know you're safe, right? So it's really about, when you're protecting yourself, it's not about the energy of like we said, like, oh, I have to protect myself, all this crazy stuff is out there. It's more like, no, I'm doing these things so that I can be at ease, so I can project safety, so I can have this strong aura. You know, and a lot of people actually don't realize this, but like when people are holding that energy, they're not the ones that get like mugged, or, you know, purses ripped off their shoulder, or this or that, because they're holding themselves in such a way, right? People that have a criminal mind or bad intentions, they're looking for auras that are broken, that are weaker, that are easier to take advantage of. So we want to be in this strong energy. We want to be in a safe energy. So okay.
And there's a lot of ways that you can kind of strengthen that energy too. Like for some people, they'll pray to like angels, for example.
Oh, absolutely.
If that's something you believe in, you know. I've heard a lot of stories of, you know, people walking down a dark alley and then they're about to be mugged, and then the person decides not to mug them because it appeared, where was this? I think I read this somewhere, but it appeared that there were two people like walking this like woman down an alley, like these two like bodyguard type looking things, and the guy was like, oh, I'm not gonna mug her because like clearly like that's dumb, like she's got two bodyguards with her, but they weren't there, they didn't exist, but she was like afraid to walk down that alley. Where did I hear
and she
this?
Prayed.
And she prayed. I remember it's like a book or something. Where did we hear this?
I don't remember. It's been so long, but I remember it was super.
It was so interesting, and I forget why we know the perspective of the guy that was going to mug her too. I think he got. I think he mugged somebody else. He got caught or something else, and then she was like a part of it somehow. I don't know, but anyways, super interesting. So it's like angels is a great way to pray, you know.
Yeah, and so that's an easy thing to do, because you don't have to have special techniques or tools to do that, right? You just call upon the angels. But the thing is, you have to ask, because angels observe your free will. They will not intervene unless you ask. So in this case, you'd be like, let's say you're that lady walking down the alley, right? And something happens, or you're scared because it's at night and you're alone, or, you know, you're starting to feel unsettled. Immediately, just by doing that, calling in, like, angels be with me, angels walk with me, keep me safe, right? Just by saying that and bringing in this energy, you're enforcing that sense of stability and safety around you. You're projecting the protection. So
have you guys actually, I'm curious about how many of you guys have actually asked angels to be with you, and what your stories are with that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share them in the chat.
Yeah. Tell us. We'll post up the comment. I'll pop it up on the screen and we can see you guys. Okay, but yeah, so there's lots of things. Asking angels for protection is really important. You can sage and cleanse your space. There's different types of sage. People think that sage is the only tool that you can use that's like a smoke that clears spaces. It's not. There you can use rosemary, dried rosemary. You can use pine needles, which I think is really interesting. That's something that I recently heard of, and I'm like, make sure you're safe with those because those, if they get on fire, they can, they're pine needles, watch them. Any kind of fire, you want to be like making sure that you are, while you're cleansing your space, not also setting it on fire, because that's like the opposite of what we want to do. That's not protection.
Well, and there's some people that don't actually want to use the fire, but there's alternatives, which would be like using a room spray that has protective qualities.
Yes.
So the high vibrational essential oils, and they actually do have the sage spray too.
They do.
You can spray instead of burning.
Yeah, and also, so talking about the room spray, we were actually talking about this before the video even began. We're talking a lot about moon water and how moon water is something that, like, I've been utilizing it more kind of recently. Like, I've done it, but I haven't really utilized a lot of the suggestions. So I looked it up and like, how many like places can I use this moon water? Is it protective? It absolutely is. You can, like you said, put in like your own essential oils that have their own meanings. Like if you want to put in like a protection oil, that'd be really helpful. You can walk around your house with the intention of clearing your space, cleaning your space.
So Lonnie, for people that don't know what moon water is, tell us how you do it.
So, okay, what I do is you can get fancy with it. I would like to get fancier with the way that I do it. I feel like I can definitely improve my moon water game. I fill up an old jar and I stick it under my windowsill and I keep it out during the full moon, sometimes a whole moon cycle, depending on what I feel like I need it for. But basically you're like just charging water with the energy of the moonlight. And a lot of people think that it can help them with some physical ailments. If you put it on your skin, you can like wash your hair with it. You can even make teas with it. Put it in your bath. Basically, the point is to sort of charge the water with intention and mindfulness for whatever use you will need it for moving forward. So,
and the moon does have extraordinary energies. We know this; it's a fact. The emergency rooms are full on full moons.
Yeah,
my grandmother actually used to invite us to run around the desert naked so that we could moon bathe, because she knew that the energy was very restorative. Okay, so we would. We were little, so it didn't matter. So we'd run around and, I do it now though, too. Anytime, just watch out,
careful when you're in the desert. There's gonna be a lot of naked people running around outside on the full moon.
Yes, but, you can actually lay like, if you have a private area, sun deck, a rooftop, just get out there and absorb as much of that moon energy into your body as possible. It's really good and effective without any tools. But I love Lonnie's moon water, and it's so effective too to be able to, like, let's say you want to charge someone under the full moon for a specific intention. Maybe that's protection, maybe it's abundance, maybe it's love, right? So go ahead and charge that water into the full moon and then drink it. And allow it to come into your body with that intention in place.
And people get really, really creative with this too. Like you can really make this your own. Like people will be very simple. They'll just like have the moon water out on the full moon, take it, call it a day. Some people will add herbs to it. They'll add essential oils. Just make sure that they are, if you're going to consume it, you can consume those essential oils. There are some that are not safe to eat or drink. So make sure you do your research first, but there's definitely a lot of really cool things. People will charge their crystals. Also make sure if you're putting crystals in your moon water, if you're planning to drink it, that crystal is safe, because there are a lot of crystals that are actually like really harmful if you ingest them. Selenite and malachite, anything that has like ite at the end of it, I think is pretty safe to say that it's like not safe to ingest in any way, shape, or form. So if you're going to be charging your crystals, make sure that you do your research for sure. Always very important.
And also, you could also write a word on the jar.
Yes,
like if you guys are familiar with Dr. Emoto, with all the studies with the water crystals,
so interesting.
Water responds to words, and you could literally put the word love on it, and that would help charge the water with the energy of love, so that when you consume it, you're putting pure love into your body. So it really does structurally change the water. So you can write a word, right? I have some of those cool markers too. You can write on glass with. So I love doing that. When people come over to drink wine, instead of using those little charms, I'll put their name.
I will not be hungover. No,
so we never want to say not though.
Oh,
good point. Yeah, like Yeah. So you can just say like all the positives, right? So that's a good point to remember. We never want to say, I will not, okay? Because your brain doesn't understand that, it doesn't interpret the not portion of it. So you can unintentionally draw something negative to yourself. So everything should be written in a positive affirmation style. Like if you want love, say, I am loved. I have love. I am with my soulmate.
I am protected.
I am protection. I'm protected. I'm safe, right? So those are the words that you would write on the jar and then drink it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of really cool. And so we're talking about too. So I've kind of looked at this article here that because we're talking about moon water, and there's different ways that you can use it. Moon bath tea, you can put it in ice cubes, you can water your plants with it. There's a lot of plants too that you can bring into your space that are really helpful for protection. So I know lemons is one. I don't think Minnesota's great for growing lemon trees. But rosemary is actually a really great protection plant. I think lavender is too. You can even grow sage. You can grow your own garden sage, which I think is just amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, lots of plants that you can grow in your space, and then even water it. Get a double whammy. Water it with your protection water into your protection plants, and then
yes,
amazing.
I love that. I love that. So like what you were talking about, well, right before we came on, Lonnie was talking about making some very strong moon water with some really beautiful intentions. And then having your plants set maybe one in each corner of your house,
yes,
which are going to be some plants. I mean, the living energy of the plant's already going to be helpful and good feng shui. But if you have plants that are intentionally ones that are known to be better for energetic purposes, for keeping a space clear of low vibrations and attachments and that kind of stuff. So if you're deliberately getting those types of plants and you're using them for protection and then putting your moon water on them, it's like you're just continually instilling the energy within your home, your dwelling, and this will affect your body every single day so that you don't have to do a reset. It's just working for you.
What I like about this too is that it's like an intention. It's a very mindful, very purposeful like part of your day. You're like consciously being like, I'm going to put energy into this plant when I water it. I'm going to know that this is the energy that I'm creating in my life. I'm going to be protected. I'm going to be loved, whatever it is that you're trying to cultivate and grow. Every time you go and take care of that plant or go to that corner or even look at the plant, you're literally training your brain, like your physical brain, as well as like your sort of spiritual brain, and putting them into unison. So you're consciously thinking all of these things that are really important to help you get on that path. And then it's like getting your spiritual side kind of in sync with that too. So it's creating it in all forms in your life.
Yeah. And I love it. I love using the word love because love is such a high vibration, right? So when you are in the energy and the vibration of love, you are already invoking protection, safety, happiness, joy, fulfillment, contentment, expansion, growth, change, right? You're taking it all in under that one word. So love is not just about romance. That's just a very teeny part of it. Love, the energy and the vibration of love, embodies all of the attributes that you would want to invite into your life. So you can look at it that way too and keep it simple if you want to. You can be very specific if you'd also like that. But love is because of the high vibration that it brings in with everything else that you're really wanting to draw into your life or enhance.
Yeah. So what are some other like protection things you can do? So we're talking about like other,
well, like Lonnie's right here.
Yep. Protection charms.
Yep. She's got
a big thing. You can wear charms.
And your crystal.
My crystal's kind of more for, it's sort of like an aura strengthener for me. It's a quartz, for me, I like to wear it because it's like same thing. It's like an intentional thing where I'm like, okay, this is going to help me like keep my energy strong, keep my energy clear. I actually really probably should charge this, get some moonlight on it, maybe dunk it in some moon water, give it a recharge because I wear it every single day. It's probably got some energy on it. But this is actually a gift for me from my aunt, and I can actually get closer if you guys want to see.
It's so pretty.
I
love that.
Yeah, it's a Celtic symbol. It's called a witch's knot. If you can see inside these little bits here, it's the 3-pronged. It's like the triquetra. I don't know how to say it. Triquetra. And then that's the 4 on the outside. Trying to get this like centered here. Everything's backwards.
Yeah. So it's like for north, south, east, west.
Yeah. There's there's lots of things that it ties into. It ties into the 4 elements. It ties into 4 directions. Yeah. Yeah. So it's got lots of protection qualities, but basically it's supposed to protect you from any like dark energy, any like bad like witchcraft, any bad like witchy stuff, like basically anything that anybody throws at me energetically. This is supposed to be a nice little like shield to
Right.
be like,
So
as I'm okay, I'm safe.
Right. And with any talisman, it's important to also have that, it's intentional when you wear it, right? So that helps expand the energy that it embodies.
Yes.
So it is symbolically going to help you bring that energy in, but then your intention behind it, or blessing it, or charging it, putting a little magic on it, really expands and accentuates that energy in your life.
And it's important too, like you don't need to have this specific symbol. You can find any symbol that that you want that resonates with you, and then just charge it and carry it with you. You could even wear a crystal like this one.
Yeah, like my love one, right?
Yes, and that could be a protection symbol.
And it's rose quartz, which is already going to enhance the love in my life. And then the shape of it, of course, is going to be representative of the heart. And this is a very, very good stone for that. And so it also raises your vibration for more love.
Yes.
And then everything associated. I think I have, with the witch's knot, I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it's in my online store. I always have a link for all my stuff below the videos. So if you scroll down and look at that, my store online is an Amazon store. It's called Divine Connection. And I have links in there for different jewelry, sage, all kinds of different stuff. So do be sure to check that out. Maybe you'll find something really special. There's different crystals in there, jewelry, all kinds of stuff.
For gifts too.
Yes, very good for gifts. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up some of these comments here.
Okay, great.
Tracy says, I have asked the angels. Yes.
Yay.
So she's asked the angels for protection. Love that.
Yes.
Tracy McGuire says, I invite my angels daily, ask for their assistance.
Good.
Love that. Love that. Tracy also adds, love to do moon water. I love it. That's so cool. How do you do yours? I'm really curious. I love hearing how people like make it personalized. I'd love to hear that. Love the idea of writing on the jar. Love it.
Good.
Do you have selenite? Yes, I actually love using selenite for like, I think it's one of those crystals for me that I think is all around like a good
my
protection.
Selenite's in the other room.
You want me to grab it?
Yeah, we can grab it.
Yeah,
I have a selenite that I use. I always have it in my living room because I love the energy. Selenite channels angelic energy. So it's a very good protection piece in the way that it's going to bring a lot of light into your environment. So I always have selenite around. It's beautiful energy. But what Lonnie was saying is you definitely don't want to put selenite in the moon water and drink it because it's one of those crystals that you can't do
just
that
always
with.
Double check if you're going to charge any water with any kind of crystal. Triple check because there's some that are like really not safe because I mean it's still a mineral and there's like stuff in there. So
this is mine and I love it. I always have it out. And also, I do a lot of things like if I'm teaching classes in person, I would always have this out amongst my students. It just keeps the vibrations high in the room. It helps everybody get a clear connection when they're doing their spiritual work and their healing. So check out selenite, but it doesn't have to be big. I just like big ones. But okay. I heard it after.
Hi, welcome to the Love Witch. This is where we talk about love and other things.
So, but yeah, it doesn't matter the size. Honestly, you can use a little tiny selenite and it will have the same effect. Yeah, the size doesn't matter. All right. We're gonna share some more stuff, Lonnie.
So talking about protection, what else do you want to talk about protection with? So
do I come over?
Yes.
Okay,
so like saging is another really good way to protect your space. We talked a little bit about that and like how you don't have to use sage. There's lots of other herbs that you can use, but also too visualization is really important. Like just kind of being able to like, if you're feeling spiritually attacked imagine like cord cutting, for example. If you're like, if there's a specific person that is spiritually attacking you, imagine, you know, cutting of those cords is going to be extremely helpful and useful, reclaiming your space, shining your light outwards. And also, we mentioned this a little bit in the beginning, but if you're being spiritually attacked, it's a pretty good indication that you don't have strong enough boundaries in your daily life with people that are around you, because that really goes hand in hand. So if you're struggling with you know, spiritual attachments, if you're getting haunted constantly, there's oftentimes a correlation between kind of like a drama sort of happening in your life and in your relationships, as well as not being, you know, not really protecting yourself when it comes to like personal interactions that you have with the people that are around you, or just even holding your own.
Right. And that's a good point too, because a lot of people are actually addicted to drama. So you can be addicted to anything. You can be addicted to drama. You can be addicted to struggle.
You wouldn't think that you would be, but it's, I mean, really anything, you know,
whatever you get used to in your youth, your first 7 years of life, you become, you start to robot, you start to recreate and pattern. So you really want to look at those first 7 years and really be consciously aware that you might just be interpreting life through those eyes, right? And so it's not just your little self, that's your program that's still playing in your brain. So it's important to be aware of that and to be consciously inviting the better energy into your life. If you didn't experience a lot of safety, it's important for you to do things in your world as a grown-up to instill safety, to instill that protection, to instill that knowingness that you're safe now.
We talked about this, I think, in the last episode too, but like kind of reparenting yourself, like whatever you felt like you didn't receive at that time, sort of stepping in and being like, okay, I am the adult now. I parent myself now. What do I give to myself now that makes me, that provides for my own needs?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So Eliza, hi. She was asking about the selenite. I think I saw a comment on here. I think it's, are they round?
They can be. Yeah, they can be round and
yes,
flat.
They do. Actually, the books, sometimes they're like flat. Yeah, they could be like cylinder, like a coin almost, where they're round, but they can be flat, so they're easier to put in your pocket or keep with you.
I think the selenite wands are really common. I have some actually like small pocket-sized ones that I sometimes carry with me.
Yeah.
Just like little travel
ones. And I love to use selenite actually because it brings in angelic energy. It's a real strong protection for home.
Yes.
So I actually like the little tiny selenites, and you can put them in every corner of your home. Like do a clearing ritual, reset your space, invite in the angels, drink your moon water, do all these things, right? And then take your little selenites and put them in all the 4 corners of your home to sustain that energy, to keep it. It's almost like setting up a grid within your home, because those energy boundaries will help protect your whole home.
Absolutely. And even too, like, you know, teaching those items to like hold the energy of protection, charging them.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And so you could actually just literally hold it in your hands, close your eyes, set the intention that it already has the energy that you would like to invite into your home. Thank it for doing a good job for you. You know, communicate with it. Even though it's an inanimate object, they really can be programmed to work for you.
Also, I just want to say, if you charge this to be a protective crystal, I think it's going to be a pretty protective crystal if it needs to be. But for smaller ones, you definitely want to extra charge those if you're going to carry them in your pockets for like energetic protection, things like that. But that's you might want to get like a swinger.
Good point. All right. So is there anything else you want to add to that, Lonnie?
Well, Tracy adds here,
sure.
It's unbelievable to be addicted to struggle. Wow, really resonates. Yes.
Yeah. And you know, it can really start off as just, you know, I mean, I actually, and what that can be, I had a lot of that in my life. And I became aware later on that I literally was running a program that I had to learn through struggle. So in that way, I was probably addicted to aspects of it, some of the drama, some of the energy of overcoming, some of the energy of, some of that was it.
Well, kind of being like the underdog, or having
to, like, the underdog,
having to rise up, having to like power through and fight for something. Like that becomes a cycle, and it's really hard to get out of unless you're very like.
Yes, and the two things happen. Then you just begin to identify with other underdogs, And then you begin to draw more of that energy to you, and you stay in that cycle. So even if you get out, you're gonna see it in other people and want to help them all the time. So there's a couple programs around that are like not allowing underdogs to take advantage of you, right? Which sounds crazy because it's like, oh, some people actually play the role of underdog so that everyone else is compelled to help them. So take a look at that if you have those energies in and around your life, and just allow someone else to rise up on their own. Doesn't mean that you can't help people. Of course you can, but it is more empowering for them to rise up on their own and to stop putting them in a place where you have to help them, because that can unintentionally hold them down. So, and that may have been happening to you as well. So everyone has this ability to rise up and to overcome on their own, and to just be strong, not even be attached to the struggle aspect of it, but just to decide today, like literally just decide, I'm done with that struggle now. I don't need to overcome. I don't need to keep going through the challenge of learning my way through it. I can literally just say thank you. And now I am, right? I am healed. I am strong. I am safe. Okay. And then all the things that we do in our environment, energetically and spiritually, it just holds the energy. It really, really helps you to maintain it without having to put so much thought into it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, should we do some hearts?
Yes, we'll pull some hearts and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so we've got our little hearts here, and let's mix them up a little bit. Okay. And we've got nice. Well, I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but you're supposed to go to the beach today. So beach is awesome. You know what? The elements containing at a beach, protective. You may not know this, but water, of course, is going to be very cleansing. And we were talking earlier about moon water, but the water itself is going to be able to rinse away a lot of energies.
Want to know what the biggest source of moon water is? Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
That's in the ocean, but depending on where you live, it can be a lake, a pond, yes. Wherever you go swimming, the beach, ocean. But that's like the greatest source of moon water and protective, cleansing energy. And
actually, if you are near the ocean, salt water is extremely protective spiritually. Yes. So, if you have ability to get some salt water, that would be a really good water to bring into your home too. Of course, you can't use it on your plants.
No, probably not good to drink either.
But it is really good spiritual protection.
Yes.
So absolutely. When people feel like they're having attachments and entities, going swimming in the ocean would be very good for them.
Mm-hmm. You could actually using that salt water to pour into your bath might be really helpful.
Sure. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then, let's look at that. And then the sand. Meanwhile, you're walking on the sand and you're grounding yourself and you're getting those beautiful ions in your body, you're earthing, that's protective, it's strengthening you. So there's a lot of reasons why you feel healthier and more vital after spending time outdoors like that. But you want to be barefoot on the sand and then in the water. So anyways, I think that's perfect and lovely and totally fits in with our topic today. But aside from that, I think it's also just a really good habit to get into. Take advantage of the sun, get outside, go spend some time in nature and enjoy yourself. Okay, so we've got a couple more. Okay, and somebody here is getting messages from birds. So I don't know if you're aware that you have some birds around you trying to bring through some messages. So a lot of times our loved ones in spirit or our spirit guides or angels can send messengers to us through the animal world. And so someone, a lot of times a specific bird or a specific animal will come and visit you over and over. They're delivering a message.
I have a story to add to that.
Yeah, do.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about animals and birds and messengers, I often see like an owl that comes into my life when I'm about to experience a lot of change. And it took me a while to kind of figure out what? At first I was like, oh my God, there's an owl in my life. This is so cool. It's like a bird messenger. And then over time I started putting it together and I was like, oh, every time I see the owl, there's going to be a significant change. Either I'm moving, getting a new job. beginning a relationship, ending a relationship, all of the above. Sometimes I'm like, okay, like as soon as my owl comes around and she's like hooting, I'm like, time to pay attention, time to start kind of like looking around me and being like, okay, like what needs to change, what needs to shift, where do I need to go, which direction do I need to move in now? Because that means like the universe is kind of like ushering me forward, like something needs to shift, Lonnie, like figure it out. And sometimes it happens just organically, and sometimes it's more of an indication that I need to choose it too. But it's really funny because what happened was last year I was hearing not one but two owls talking to each other outside of my house like every single night right outside my window. And I was asking my roommates, I was like, are you guys hearing these owls? And they're like, no, not at all. And I'm like, weird. Okay. So I'm like, every night I'd like wake up and I'm like, oh, it's like them again. And I'd like peek my little head out the window and be like, oh my God, like, hi guys. Like, thanks for telling me. Thanks for being good messengers. And around that time, I'd actually started dating somebody new. And like after a while, I think we've been dating for a few months. And he actually told me that way back when his family like used owl as like a crest on like their coat of arms. And I was like, oh my God, that's so interesting, because like he came into my life when I was like about to go through a lot more changes, like shifting like internally and also like making external decisions. And it was kind of cool because I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Not only did I have like an animal spirit guide coming to me, but sort of in a way he was like my owl too. So I was like, oh, that's super cool and neat. And like he wants to get like the owl tattoo and like all this stuff. So I thought
that's
that was
so cool.
Really interesting. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's my story.
I love it. I love
my
it.
friend's story.
But, you need to pay attention to that, and it can seem so simple. It's easy to overlook when you're around animals. When I go outside and drink my coffee, I sit there like there's a little baby bunny that's been running by for the last 2 mornings. There's a blackbird that lands on the car and then goes to the top of the roof. That blackbird has been coming ever since Bob's brother passed. It arrived that day and has been here every single day. So we associate that one with a message of love from his brother. But all the different animals, they have different representations, and it doesn't have to be by the book. It can just be what you interpret or what you feel when that one comes around. But you'll notice that they all come in and give messages. So pay attention, especially today with that. Pay attention to that. And you can usually just ask, like, say if you want to ask the angels a certain question about something in your life, then pay attention to how it arrives. It may be a bird that comes in and is kind of giving you that extra boost or that confirmation that you're being listened to and that the universe is bringing in the animals to provide answers for you. Okay? All righty.
All right. We have one question here. So I think this is talking back about being back to what we were saying before, the addiction to struggle. How does this apply to PTSD and traumatic grief?
Yes. So, with the struggle or just any.
I think when we were talking about how like, yeah. So being addicted to struggle, being addicted to like challenges and like,
absolutely.
Maybe you have like repeated cycles.
Absolutely. So Tracy, I think it's really important because a lot of people are and when you're in that state, when you're in that heightened state that you have this intense wound that's still raw and it's repeating, everything's going to trigger that, right? So you re-experience the same emotion over and over and over. So it's when you're working with that, it's really important to find whatever healing modality speaks to you or that works for you. But it's important to try different ones to find one. That's part of the work that I do when I do subconscious reprogramming. I work with a lot of people with PTSD because you want to get back into that event and clear the trauma energy out of it. So when I work with people that have lost loved ones, that are still in the trauma of the loss, it's real important to move them through that experience spiritually and energetically so that it can be more complete. It can be healed. So oftentimes people have a difficult time doing that on their own because they keep it's like a spin cycle and they just keep feeling the wound over and over, or the event or the tragedy, and it's kind of locked up in the mind. So the techniques that I use are through theta healing, and I work with subconscious reprogramming, spiritual healing around the event, and it's really effective. But in that case, it would be, it may appear like an addiction, but it may be PTSD. when it's recycling that way and it's so raw. But it can be healed either way. If it's PTSD or an addiction to the drama, chaos, conflict, either way it can be healed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I hope that answered your question, Tracy. All right.
Just a reminder, you guys, too, if you wanted to work on any of this in a private session, Diana does have links below.
Yes, of course.
Feel free to check those out if you're resonating. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We always appreciate you being here. I really was missing my pink wig today, but yeah, I want to go see a dear friend of mine. Her son is graduating, and I didn't want funky wig hair. So yeah, we just want to say thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you for having so many thoughtful responses and questions today as well. We love interacting with you here.
Absolutely. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Get to the beach if you can.
Yeah.
Get out there. All right. Bye, everyone. We love you.
Bye.